Hello and welcome back to our Yakuza 4 Remastered playthrough, once again at the loading screen because we are between chapters. Don't worry, this upcoming cutscene is nowhere near as long as the previous one. But in our last episode, we met the second protagonist of this game, Saejima Taiga, and he escaped from prison with a little help from an old quote-unquote friend. So yeah, the last we saw of him was him, the old friend, and a rather bloodthirsty prison guard going over the wall in Okinawa Penitentiary number 2 into the ocean. And this is where we pick up. See, nice and quick this time. Haruka says, "Please wake up, mister." Oh, he's opening his eyes. Saejima says, ugh. Haruka says, "I'm so glad you're okay." Saejima asks her, "Where am I?" Haruka says, "This is Morning Glory Orphanage. We have lots of kids, but this is the first time we've taken in an adult." Saejima asks, "An orphanage?" Haruka says, "Phew, I'm so glad you're okay, mister. I was worried you were dead when I found you down on the beach." Saejima asks, "Beach? What beach?" "Yep, that one." Saejima goes on, "Right, must have washed up here." Haruka asks, "Are you sure you're okay, mister?" Saejima says, "Think so." Haruka says, "My Uncle Kaz should be back at any moment now. He thought you might have been shipwrecked, so he's checking in with the police. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay." Saejima is in a panic and screams, "The cops!"
起こしてごめんね。ゆっくり休んでて。じゃあ、私はおじさんに連絡してくるね。
ちょっと。
おじさん。
どうしたんだ、はるか。
おじさん、おかえり。
ああ、もう大丈夫なのか。
うん、大丈夫みたいだよ。
うん。
あ、そうだ、私ちょっと町のスーパーまで行ってくるね。晩ご飯の用意しなくちゃ。
んあ、ああ。
それじゃあ行ってくるね。
Saejima, buddy, I know it's been a long time between drinks, but she hasn't even begun to develop yet, so, yeah. Kiryu says, glad to see you're up. How are you feeling? Saejima says, fine enough. Sorry about all the trouble. Kiryu says, don't worry about it. The kids are out for a few days on a field trip, so I have plenty of time on my hands. Saejima says, guess luck ain't always going against me. Kiryu says, now, I have to ask, what happened to you? Saejima says, Kiryu asks, do you remember being passed out on the beach this morning? Haruka found you while she was out walking our dog. Saejima asks, Haruka? Kiryu says, the girl who's been watching over you. Saejima says, oh, so that's her name. Kiryu says, yeah, guess that means you still have your memory. Saejima says, mm-hmm. Kiryu says, then tell me, how'd you end up washing up on our beach? Saejima says, Kiryu asks, is there a reason you don't want to tell me? Saejima says, no, it ain't that, it's just... Kiryu asks, can you at least tell me your name? Saejima does not know what to say. Kiryu asks, you can't even do that? Saejima says, no, I owe it to you for all the help, but don't folks usually introduce themselves before they go asking a guy to do the same? Kiryu says, fair point. Saejima says, sorry, not trying to ruffle any feathers. Kiryu says, it's okay. My name's Kiryu. Kazuma Kiryu. Saejima says to himself, hold up, that's the guy Hamazaki was talking about. Kiryu asks, something wrong? Saejima says, oh, no, it's nothing. Kiryu says, alright, I gave you my name. Your turn now. Saejima says, it's Suzuki. Yeah, that's it. Kiryu says, Suzuki-san, huh? Common name, though not really around here. I take it you're from the mainland. Saejima does not know what to say. Kiryu says, I'll take that as a yes. Anyway, what are you going to do now? You didn't have a wallet or anything on you when you washed up. Saejima asks, huh? Kiryu says, you won't be able to go to the doctor or check in with the police without your ID. I can help you get in touch with your family if you need a hand, though. Saejima does not know what to say once more. Kiryu says, Suzuki-san, I can't help you if you don't tell me what you need. Saejima, once more, does not know what to say. Saejima stands up and says, let me ask you something. Is your name really Kiryu? Kiryu says, that's me. Saejima laughs. Well, ain't life mysterious? Who'd have thought I'd end up floating right to your damn doorstep? Kiryu says, I don't think I understand. Saejima says, Kiryu-san, you gotta help me. And they've gone down to the beach. Kiryu says, so let me get this straight. Someone on the boat you were working on mentioned me and told you to look for me if you ever needed help. Saejima says, mm-hmm. Kiryu says, but then your ship sank and the rest of the crew drowned while you narrowly managed to swim to shore. Saejima says, yep. Not suspicious at all. Kiryu says, interesting. Saejima says, listen, Kiryu-san, I know it's weird, but you gotta help me. I need to get back to Kamurocho, no matter what. I'm not asking for 100 grand or nothing, just enough to get me up to Tokyo. And don't worry, I'll pay you back, just as soon as I take care of business and scrape some cash together, I swear. So please, Please loan me the money. Kiryu says, Suzuki-san. Saejima asks, what's up? Kiryu asks, how long were you in for? Saejima asks, huh? Kiryu asks, how many years did you spend in prison? Saejima asks, what are you talking about? Kiryu says, listen, I know you went out on a boat. I went into town when you were asleep and asked the Coast Guard if there were any accidents last night. It turns out last night was one of the calmest they've had in months. Not a cloud in sight, and definitely not shipwreck weather. Saejima says, Kiryu says, besides, what do you think it costs to get to Tokyo from Okinawa nowadays? Saejima says, I don't know, it can't cost more than what, 30 grand? Kiryu says, that won't get you anything beyond the plane ticket. What about transportation to the airport, or once you get up to Tokyo? Do you know how much a taxi ride would cost you? Saejima says, well... Kiryu says, you don't need to pretend. I know you don't know. You've been locked up for years, haven't you? Saejima asks, how'd you figure it out? Kiryu replies, it wasn't a tough conclusion to reach. I mean, look at you. Saejima says, so, what, you thought something was off, then went and pieced all that together? Kiryu replies, it was because of Haruka. Saejima asks, Haruka? Oh, you mean what happened this afternoon? Kiryu says, yeah. Saejima says, you saw that, huh? Kiryu says, those were the eyes of someone who hasn't seen a woman in a long time, hasn't been a part of everyday society. I know the feeling, the hopelessness you sink into behind bars, how difficult it can be to readjust once you're out. I was in for a long stretch myself. Saejima asks, oh yeah? Kiryu said, I spent a decade alone in a dark cell. Honestly, I'm lucky it wasn't longer. Saejima asks, lucky at 10 years? Must have been in for murder. Kiryu says, I'm guessing your sentence was longer. Or should I say, is longer. Well? Saejima grits his teeth. Kiryu says, I won't tell you what to do, but here's some advice. You should turn yourself in to the police before they catch you themselves. Saejima says, but... Kiryu says, they might go easy on you if you go peacefully, before the media catches wind of your story. Saejima says, Kiryu says, so what do you think? If that's what you want to do, I'll be glad to lend a hand. Saejima bursts out laughing almost hysterically. Kiryu asks, what's so funny? Saejima asks, don't you get it? There ain't no going back for me. They'd execute me on sight. Kiryu says, so you're on death row. Saejima says, you call 10 years hard time? Talk to me when you're done 25. All that matters to me now is getting back to Kamurocho. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure it happens. This ain't about getting a fresh start. Never has been. All I'm hoping to do is find the truth. That, and make those bastards taste the pain I be dealing with these 25 years. Don't you get it? I gotta avenge my boss, even if it kills me. Kiryu says, revenge, huh? Saejima says, Kiryu-san, I'm real grateful for all you done for me, you and the little lady. But I can't stick around. You know too much about me now. So please, just give me some money before this gets ugly. Kiryu says, Saejima says, I'm begging you, Kiryu-san.
断る。
なんで
あんたがどんな経緯で無所に入ったのかは知らない。だが、俺に復讐の手伝いはできない。俺は今まで何度も復讐に巻き込まれてきた。 だが憎しみや恨みって感情だけで復讐を果たしても、後に待っているのは悲しい結末だけだ。あんたがどうしても復讐をするっていうなら、その訳を教えてくれ。事情もわからないのに手助けはできない。
教えられへん言うたら。
俺はあんたをここで止める。答えはノーか。
すまんな。俺はこの目で全てを確かめたいんじゃ。それまでは誰も信用できへん。
なるほどな。
どうやらあんたは俺と同じ匂いの男のようやな。俺の兄弟にもよう似とる。
俺もあんたと似てる男を知ってる。
安心したわ。あんた相手なら間違えて殺す心配はないようや。
ああ、こっちもあんたがどこまで本気なのか確かめさせてもらうぜ。
行くで。キリュウ
来い。
Well, it appears to be on. Oh. Unsurprisingly, Kiryu doesn't like it when you grab him by the leg. I'll just grab this toughness ZZ. Oh, Kiryu. Ooh, that was uncalled for. Oh, come on. You're not this far gone, Kiryu, surely. Oh well, Saejima leveled up.
Okay.
あんたもな、すごすぎるくらいだぜ。
何してんのおじさん。ねえ、何してんの。やめて、二人とも。
はるか、
浜崎に顔向けできん。
浜崎。
くそ、体が持たん。
おじさん、この人。
It's now night, and we've dragged Saejima back into the orphanage, where Haruka is, I assume, tending to him, and Kiryu's in the lotus position. Gotta get that Taiga in. Kiryu asks, how is he? Haruka replies, not good. Looks like he's been having nightmares. Kiryu says, right. The doctor said he's exhausted, probably malnourished too. Haruka says, Kiryu says, you're worried about him, aren't you? I can tell. Haruka says, yeah, that, and... Kiryu says, you're still thinking about what he said on the beach? Haruka nods. Uh-huh. Kiryu asks, what about it? Haruka says, that Hamazaki he mentioned. That's the guy who stabbed you last year. I'd never forget that name, and I can't trust someone who says they're friends with him. Kiryu says, believe me, I know how you feel. Haruka says, if he's really friends with Hamazaki, I... Kiryu asks, hate him? Haruka says, I don't know. Kiryu says, listen, Haruka, even if he does know Hamazaki, that doesn't automatically mean he's a bad person. Even though he's been in prison for 25 years. Haruka says, but... Kiryu says, sure, Hamazaki was a bit unhinged the last time we met, but a lot can change in a year. When he lost the fight with the Tojo clan, he lost the only thing that meant something to him. I was probably the only one he could take his anger out on. Haruka says, maybe. Kiryu says, if Hamazaki came to me now asking for help, I'd give it to him in a heartbeat. As long as he's learned to have some faith in his fellow man, that is. Haruka says, Uncle Kaz. Kiryu says, so what do you say, Haruka? Haruka says, huh? Kiryu asks, do you really think he's a bad guy just because he knows Hamazaki? Haruka replies, I don't know what to think. Kiryu says, he's a Yakuza, no question. The tattoo's a dead giveaway. But I have one of those too. He and I aren't so different in that respect. Haruka says, yeah, but... Kiryu says, you've seen plenty of men like us over the years, some good, some bad. Where do you think he falls on that spectrum? Haruka says, well, if I had to pick, I don't think he's a bad person. Kiryu asks, yeah? Haruka says, but I can't say for sure. It's just the impression I get. Kiryu says, all right then, good to know. And he stands up. Haruka asks, are you going somewhere? Kiryu says, I have some shopping to do. Haruka asks, right now? And yes, it is in the middle of the night, so can understand that question. Kiryu says, yeah, he'll need a nice meal when he comes to. Doctor said he hasn't been eating very well after all. Haruka asks, but aren't all the stores closed by now? Kiryu says, don't worry, I'm sure somewhere in town will still be open. Haruka says, maybe, but... Kiryu asks, "What's wrong? Are you worried about being left alone with him?" Haruka says, "No, it's not that. It's just..." Kiryu says, "Relax. He's not going to hurt you. That's not the kind of man he is." Haruka says, "Okay." Kiryu says, "Well, I should be going. I won't be gone long."
そうだ、はるか。玄関先に置いてあるバッグ、その男の荷物らしい。
そんなのあったの？
さっき海辺で見つけたんだ。もしそいつが目覚めたら渡しておいてくれ。
わかった。
それじゃ。
ごめん、寝ちゃってた。
俺はずっとここで寝てたんか。
もう大丈夫なの、鈴木さん。
鈴木？ああ。桐生は？
ああ、おじさん？おじさんなら買い出しに行ったよ。なんか鈴木さんに栄養のあるもの食べさせなきゃって。
そうか。
あ、そうだ。よいしょ。はあ、重かった。はい、これ。鈴木さんのなんでしょ？おじさんが起きたら渡せって言ってた。なんか海辺でおじさんが見つけたんだって。鈴木さんのものだから渡せって。どうしたの、鈴木さん？大丈夫？
ああ、大丈夫や。
鈴木さん？
お嬢ちゃん、いや、はるかちゃんが。ほんま、いろいろありがとうな。おじさんは今すぐ出かけなあかんねん。はるかちゃんともこれでお別れ。
でも今3時過ぎだよ。
おじさんには時間がないね。
でもさ、鈴木さん怪我してるんだし、もっとゆっくりしていった方が。
ほなな、はるかちゃん。
鈴木さん。
鈴木さんちゃうねん。俺は冴島や。冴島大河。
冴島さん？
そや。桐生さんにも言うといてくれや。俺は冴島やったで。絶対にこの恩は忘れへん。またいつか必ず会おう。そう伝えといてくれ。
わかった。
ほらな。
じさん、
ただいま。
おじさん、鈴木さん、あ、違う、冴島さん帰っちゃったよ。
そうか。
そうかっていいの？まだ怪我治ってなかったみたいだけど。
ま、大丈夫だろう。
大丈夫って、もう。あ、おじさん、そういえば買い出しは？
ああ、やっぱりこの時間じゃ店開いてなかった。
もうこれだから大人たちの考えてることはわかんないよ。
It is March 6th, and Saejima has made it back to Kamurocho. Saejima says, "This really Kamurocho?" as he's standing up, looking at Shinra Tower. A rude pedestrian says, "Ouch, out of the way, old-timer." Just by the look of you, sir, I want to punch you in the face. Saejima asks, "What happened to this place?" Then he says to himself, "Kamurocho's gone down the crapper these last 25 years. Well, time to track down the boss. Guess I'll start with the old Sasai Family HQ, out front of West Park." Well, didn't we say Sasai... Didn't they say earlier that Sasai Senior was dead? So, wouldn't we be looking for a gravesite? Just a thought. Let's see. What should we get? What should we get? Tis a puzzlement. We will get essence of head bashing. Take out 2 enemies by smashing their heads together. Triangle with grabbed enemy near an enemy, 1 health is flashing. Excellent. I think we will then take quick stand. Stand up faster after being knocked down. Repeatedly press X while knocked down. Right. We have no side stories of Kamurocho outstanding. So let's go see the homeless, shall we? Man with a past says, "Hey, don't start doing anything shady, okay? Cops are everywhere, and I can't have them thinking I've got anything to do with you." Police patrols. The police in Kamurocho are on high alert. They have sent many of their officers out on patrol around the town to make sure they catch anyone acting suspicious. There are 2 types of officers. Some stand guard in place and watch their surroundings, while others follow a patrol and approach shady individuals to question them. Running down the street will attract the attention of patrolling officers. You may want to enter first-person mode with R3 and check for officers before moving quickly. And that's all been added as a memo. Good for us. Man with the past says, "Be careful out there." And we've gained 500 experience. Yay! Okay, we do have money. What items do we have? Not a lot, if I'm being perfectly honest. Perhaps we should get some sponsored sushi on our way. I mean, don't see many officers. Sorry. Sorry. Sponsored sushi is over there, I believe. Yes, it is. Look, there's Popo. Saejima thinks to himself, there weren't that many convenience stores 25 years ago, but now it feels like there's one in every corner. Yes, your sponsored sushi, please. Manager says, welcome. Okay, that's fine. We want sponsored sushi, please, which is there. Yeah, we'll only take 2 because that's essentially half our monies, and we don't want just half our monies. Thank you. Fashionable businesswoman says, after today's meeting, I could really use a trip to Stardust. Care to join me? Stylish businesswoman says, no offense, but you're like addicted to host clubs, are you sure you're okay? Fashionable businesswoman says, I only go sometimes, a girl's got to treat herself, right? And drinking with the guys in the office is so bleh. Stylish businesswoman says, don't remind me. Our manager's one hug away from a sexual harassment lawsuit. Okay, fine, let's go live it up. Fashionable businesswoman says, awesome, hot guys and cold drinks, here we come. Saejima thinks to himself, a host club? Is that like a hostess club with fellas trying to please the ladies? Shit, times have changed. Well, sort of. Now what does this bloke here want? Man who never skips leg day says... Gee, that's a mouthful. Man who never skips leg day says, hey man, you fancy yourself a good fighter? I'm pretty good myself. Just got into a brawl with some young punk the other day too. You should have seen it, man. Right as we started going at it, I kicked a rock at him and pow! Hit him right in the kisser. Sent him straight to the floor. Boy, was that satisfying. Kicking objects. You can kick items at distant enemies with triangle. Kicked items hit enemies faster than they would have if picked up and thrown. In addition, there are items such as cans that do not have marks over them. These items can only be used as kick weapons. And that's all a memo. Man who never skips leg day says, I'm going to start testing empty cans in science and see which ones deal the most damage. You should give it a try too, man. And we gained another 500 experience points. Oh no, that's a cab. That's not a paddy wagon. Where? Oh. Man says you. Yeah, you. I've been calling you for ages now. My throat's getting sore from all the shouting. Couldn't you hear me? Don't play dumb with me. You'll be wearing your ass as a hat. I mean... Yes, up you stand, sir. Cool. Yep, won't be sassing us no more. The man says, please have mercy. I was wrong. I know that now. Here, can you find it in your heart to forgive me? We got a soothing Torna ++. Right. Still not seeing these coppers. Office clerk says, do you remember what was here before they built the Millennium Tower? Receptionist says, nope, what was it? Office clerk says, just an empty lot. It's funny how things change over time. Receptionist says, I know, right? Like there used to be a building where that parking lot is now. Office clerk says, huh, really? Guess I forgot all about that. Receptionist says, seriously, it's like this entire city gets rebuilt from the ground up every few years or so. Speaking of, let's go check out that new store that just opened. Saejima thinks to himself, suppose I shouldn't be surprised nothing looks like how I remember it back in 85. I still don't see any of the constabulary around. They're not patrolling, they're not waiting at doors, it's just... Not that I'm complaining, but... Man says, hey, I know it's sudden, but can you give me some allowance, like 10,000 yen? We've been low on some fund money, so I'm thinking we'll just get some by force. I'm not sure 10,000 yen will go that far. Miss. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what is called a miss. You bounce nice and high, sir. Man says, I'm sorry. Please take this. I promise I'll stop going out for a while. We got a misshapen Torna Plus. Okay. You do you then. Sedentary businessman says, what do you say we grab some post-work yakiniku? I hear the salted beef tongue here is to die for. Sporty businesswoman says, and cancel out all the calories I just burned? Yeah, right. Sedentary businessman says, don't worry, cooking on a grill melts off the extra fat. All that's left is pure protein. Can't you smell that barbecue wafting through the air? Who could possibly resist? Sporty businesswoman says, well, and her stomach growls. Sedentary businessman says, we'll be fine if we don't overeat. So what do you say? Let's go get us some yakiniku. Saejima says to himself, after a quarter century in the slammer, yakiniku sounds mighty fine. That and a cold beer to wash it down with. Okay, you can have your salted beef tongue. I am not going to hold it against you or take it away from you. Yes, is it Club Velvet? No. Gals a go-go. Wow. Okay, you're not there. You're not through there. You're not Gals a go-go. Therefore, you must be in the back streets somewhere. Quiet bespectacled man says, "Oh man, these DVDs are amazing. Truly the most priceless of valuables. I can't stop staring at them. I've got to memorize everything about them." Valuables. You can zoom in on valuables with X. You can also view equipment recipes at any time with X. Okay. That's now a memo. Quiet bespectacled man says, yes, this one. I just need to glance at the packaging to know what beauties lie within. I've got to stare harder, though. I need every molecule burned into my retinas. We gain 500 experience points and an insight into what some people find absolutely amazing. Anyway... Oh, he's losing his lunch. Jeez. What are you people doing? Saejima says to himself, this was my family's turf. Ain't no sign of 'em now. Suppose I'll try asking folks around here. Saejima says, got a sec? The Sasai family used to have an office around these parts. Know anything about that? Homeless guy says, well, I remember some Yakuza types used to hang out here, but that was what, 20, 30 years ago? Saejima says, yeah, those guys, any idea where their boss went? Homeless guy says, sorry, can't say I do. Toku-san might, though. Saejima asks, who's Toku and where can I find him? The homeless guy replies, another homeless guy like me. He's been busking around town for decades, spends his days down in the underground mall. Saejima asks, the hell's that? Homeless guy says, it's a bunch of stores they set up under Showa Street, built just a while back. The whole thing's one big fancy shopping centre beneath the streets, hence the name. Saejima says, all right then, guess I'll go see if your pal Toku's still hanging around this underground mall. Homeless guy says he should be, and I'm sure he'll be able to tell you what you want to know. Then can we just duct it? No. Oh, Kamiyama works. Oh, this is where Kamiyama went. Hello, Kamiyama. Kamiyama says, huh? Is this your first time here? I'm sorry, but I can't sell to strangers. Saejima says, huh? I've met someone who looks just like you. Kamiyama says, what? Where? Saejima says, in Okinawa, actually. Kamiyama says, oh, are you perhaps Saejima-san? My brother told me about you. He said you were the reason he was able to escape. Kamiyama says, then it's all right. Please come by my shop any time. Gee, that was fortunate. Here, this is my new recipe. I want you to have it. We got a copy of Nationwide Dumpling Making Expose 2010. Okay. Kamiyama asks, so what will it be today? Encompasses every dumpling making technique in Japan. May give you some designs for weapons. Hammer and toy hammer. Sledgehammer as a base plus 1 block of brass, 1 dropper, or sledgehammer as a base plus 1 large blow-up doll and 2 super resilient resin, or the angry dragon hammer. Sledgehammer as a base plus 1 bloody cloth plus 2 seal of the dragon. Okay. What do you have? The answer to that is nothing. So we shall... Never mind. Kamihama says, equipment and weapons all have their strengths and weaknesses depending on the person using them. Be careful, okay? Come again soon. Right. Yes. Apparently learning how to make dumplings also teaches you how to make weapons. I'm not questioning it. It is far from the most ridiculous thing we have ever seen. And that's not even in this game, or this series. Will you let me into Little Asia? Saejima says, hey, you're in my way. The man says something in Chinese. Saejima thinks to himself, doesn't look like he's going to let me through. Best to avoid causing trouble. Well, yes. And there's still none of the old Bill around. Man says, hey, you from around here? I came here to have some fun, but I ran out of money. That seems to be a lot of people's stories lately, sir. Man says, you think you could let me borrow some money? No. Well then, I'm going to take it from you. Well, you're going to try, sir. And that's the main thing. Ooh, 2 in 1. Man says, I'm sorry for underestimating you. I really don't have a lot of money, so could you forgive me with this instead? We got a cheap 3,000 yen. Why do I have to forgive you that easily? Oh, that right there is a police officer. We probably shouldn't walk in front of him, so we'll just backtrack a little bit and go down this way. Man says, I know this is sudden, but, like, will you take a punch for me? I gotta have some real results to go up the ranks in the family, so if I beat up a strong mofo like you, I bet I'll shoot straight to the top. Well, that's one way of looking at it, sir. Cheap 9-iron. Man says, I never considered how weak I was. I'm sorry. This is for troubling you. We got a weak 5,000 yen. Okay. Well, you do you, and we'll just keep going. That gentleman is right there. Fashion-conscious man says, Man, why'd I have to wear this today? There's no way I can roll up to the hostess club in this getup. Michiko would roast me in front of everyone. Equipment 2. Certain items, when equipped, improve your looks and make hostesses like you more. These items can be obtained from stores such as brand-name retailers and pawn shops. If your outfit doesn't get the right reaction, put on some stylish items and try again. They might like you a lot more. And that's now a memo. Fashion-conscious man says, No, looks aren't what matters. It's what's on the inside that counts. I'll go as I am now, though I should at least buy her a present. And we gain 500 EXP. Okay. Keep going. Sorry. Being on the lookout for policing types. Man says, You know, I'm pretty freaking strong. I've done karate, boxing, and Muay Thai. You don't like getting hurt, do you? Just leave your wallet and get out of here. I mean, it's your decision, sir. Oh, he's already dead. Okay, that's a thing. And now so are you. Pity I don't get to keep the crowy. Man says, My bad. To be honest, I've never done any martial arts. Here, please have mercy. We got a lovely stamina XX. That's lovely. Don't you have a lovely pink raincoat, sir? Very lovely indeed. Let's just duck down here. No, you aren't Toku, are you? No? Saejima asks, You Toku? Homeless man says, Yeah, that's me. And who are you? Saejima says, Name's Saejima. I'm looking for anyone who knew Kamurocho back in the day, around 25 years ago. Someone said you might. I hear you've been living in these parts a long time. Toku says, That I have. Over 30 years, maybe more. Guess I lost count. There's something wrong with your neck, sir. Saejima says, Yeah? You ever heard of the Sasai family? Toku says, The name does ring a bell. Saejima says, They had an office by West Park till at least 25 years ago. Toku says, Oh, right. It's starting to come back to me. Saejima says, Well, what can you tell me about him? Toku says, It's kind of fuzzy. Some alcohol might jog my memory. Saejima says, Alki what? Toku says, Booze, hooch, alcohol. I live off the stuff, but it's been days since I could afford a drink. I just can't think straight when I'm sober. You sure about that? Saejima does not know what to say, but thinks to himself, maybe I ought to go grab some booze. What shall I give? Yeah, I don't have any booze, so, yeah, no, let's go find some booze. Toku asks, Oh, you don't have any alcohol on you? Shame. A stiff drink would clear these cobwebs. Right. Right. That's a thing. So we'll just go up here. Hopefully find ourselves near Pawpaw with no coppers about. Doesn't look to be. Oh, there was a copper about. The police officer says, "Excuse me, could you show me some form of ID?" Saejima says, "Damn it, I'll be taken in if they question me. I gotta run." So he runs. The police officer says, "Hey, stop right there. We've got to escape the police." Saejima says, "Looks like I outran him." Yay, go us. So yeah, apparently you're not an undercover copper, are you? Man says, "I'm not really clear on the details, but I'm going to be a world champion fighter one day. You look strong. How's about a little brawl? Are you running away from me? You know you'll never beat me. Here, let me show you what I mean, chicken shit." Come on, Eddie Honda. You can do better than that. How about you get over here and on top of him? What she does? Gone? Oh, we may have got both of them. You kicked me. That's not nice. Man says, "Uncle, I give up. It's not that I'm weak. It's just that you're way too strong. Let this be a symbol of our friendship. It's yours to keep." We got a top shelf block of brass. Go us, I guess. Hello, some of your cheapest booze, please. That really is a block of bronze. / brass. That is quite literally a block of brass. Aptly named. Right. Let's be about our business then. Diving back into the underground. Toku says, "Oh, you again. Did you bring me some booze?" Saejima says, "I ought to have some booze on me still. What shall I give?" Here's some sake, there. Saejima says, "Cheers. Now let's hear about the Sasai family." Toku says, "Oh, thanks. Hold on a second while I fuel up." "Welcome back, my old friend." "No, not you. The booze." It's the good stuff. Warms the body and soul. Saejima says, I'm happy for you. You remember anything yet? Toku says, oh right, the Sasai family. Sorry to break this to you, but they're long gone. Saejima says, so it's true. What about the boss? Where's Sasai-san? Toku says, I'm afraid I don't know what became of their patriarch. Saejima does not know what to say in response to this. Toku says, don't let it get you down. Besides, Yakuza don't exactly advertise their comings and goings. He might very well still be around. Saejima, again, does not know what to say in response to this. Toku says, sorry I wasn't much help. Wait, I know. Why not go back to where it all began? That always helps me find things. Saejima says to himself, might as well start with my old apartment. Not like I got any other leads to work with. So we're going to your old apartment. Man says, hey, aren't you the guy who was giving our Aniki the stink eye? We'll show you what happens when you fuck with the Yakuza. They don't pay you grunts a lot, do they? To be wearing that rather awful jumper. How about I introduce you to him? Like that. Oh, is that how you want it, sir? Yeah, I'd look a bit surprised too if most of my facial bones were instantaneously broken. Man says, we should never have tangled with you. This should make up for the trouble. We got a tangled... It's 1,000 yen. We got a tangled 1,000 yen. I should punch you more in the face. I wonder where Saejima's old apartment was. Man says, excuse me, but would you mind giving me your wallet? There's no telling what kind of unpleasantness will happen to you if you don't. I'm sure. Come on, Sakata, over here, over here. How about I throw you into him? He didn't last long, did he? Man says, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Here, take this as a peace offering. We got a sensible Torna plus. Go us. You know, I do take payment in sponsored sushi. Just spread that around. Barker says, hey tough guy, how about a show? Only 3,000 yen, satisfaction guaranteed. Sure, why not? If you're going to guarantee your satisfaction. Barker says, right this way. Club Asia. Okay. Saejima says, there's something here. We got Taihei Boulevard Locker Key A2. Woo! Go on. So where is this show, sir? Apparently not this way. Must be in front of you. Bouncer says, I'll show you to your seat. So we're inside. Saejima says to himself, ooh. Oh, there's a young lady. In quite revealing dress. Yes. Well, it has been a long time. And you are very flexible, dear. That is interesting choice of music, though. And no one's throwing you any money. That seems a bit cheap of them. Well, let's see. Oh, she's got a pole this time. Hey, French music, yes. Oh, no. Saejima said, "This seat is just awful." Yes, it must take a lot of practice to be able to do this, dear. Yes, very well done, yes. So, yes, we'll just depart AV. Very interesting experience, though. Dancer says, "My shift's coming up at the show pub. I'll be back later." Freeloader says, "Okay, good luck, but be careful, Ami-chan. You're such a hottie with a body. I'm worried about creepers hitting on you." Like the one standing in front of her. Ami says, "Oh, are you getting jealous?" Yes, he very much is. Freeloader says, "No way, just come right home after you clock out. I'll have dinner waiting for you." Saejima thinks to himself, a show pub? That like a peep show or something. And since when is some peep show gal worth getting all hot and bothered about? There's a police person. I'll just quietly avoid you, sir. Aquinon spy, yes, okay. We'll just duck down this way. Let's see. Oh, hello. Do you know, we just met a man with the exact same jumper as you, and I suspect the exact same thing's going to happen to you as happened to him. Anyway, the man says, "Looks like you took real good care of one of my men the other day." Very likely. You wrinkly shit. I'm going to shove my hand up your ass and use you like a puppet. You're welcome to try, sir. Yep, you lasted just about as long as he did too. Yeah, that's the way. Man says, what? Oh, looks like I already lost. I didn't stand a chance. We got a tasty 10,000 yet. Yes, you're welcome to come back and get beaten up again, sir. Much more lucrative than your friend. This lousy bleeding 1,000 yen. I'm not going to ask. Now, because you're watching that way, we should be able to sneak past you over here. And then, up North Senryo Avenue. And we should be sweet. Man says, hooray, you're one lucky guy. This is going to be the best day of your life. Probably not going to be the best day of your life, sir. There's just one condition. You've got to give us some money first. Pay up or your luck will go downhill fast. Yep. Why not indeed? Will the real Slim Shady please lie down? Man says, ow, no more. This should do the trick, right? We got a slick 20,000. You're even more welcome to come back and assault me again, sir. 20,000 yen is a lovely contribution to me.
Nande?
なんかさ、よく勘違いされんだよね、俺。俺さ、いわゆるチンピラ風の見た目じゃない。だからいっつも舐められるわけ。でもさ、俺一応新井の兄貴の舎弟やってんだよ。弱かったら務まんねえっつの。俺なんか簡単に生け取れると思った？アメんだよ。あんたら本家柴田組もさ。そんなんじゃいつまで経っても新井の兄貴は捕まえらんないぜ。
おい。
On the rooftop, Saejima says, "Do did you just say Shibata family? Kido asks, who's asking? Saejima says, ex-member of the Tojo clan's Sasai family. Kido says, never heard of them. Saejima says, these goons you just wasted, they all Shibatas. Kido says, maybe. What's it to you? Saejima asks, you in the business? Kido asks, the Yakuza? Yeah. Saejima asks, what family? Kido says, I'm with the Tojo. The, Shibata family, actually. Saejima asks, why were you just pounding on your own boys? Kido replies, it's kinda complicated. Saejima asks, they jump you for dropping out?
Yeah.
Kido says, no, not exactly. Saejima says, well, you're obviously no friend of Shibata's, just the man I need. Kido says, wait, need me? For what? Saejima says, you're going to help me find my boss, Sasai-san. Kido says, ah. Up. Pushes Saejima past and runs away. Saejima says, Kido shouts, sorry man, but I got my own shit to take care of. Saejima says, fuck, and chases after him. So I guess we've got another chase scene. Chase Kido! It's like I'm Psychic 3, 2, 1. We're chasing you. You're going in a that way's direction. You're going that way. I don't think I'm catching him this way, this time around. Oh, no, we did end up catching him. Poor Kido. It's not been his night, really, has it? So we've dragged him to the park and just sort of thrown him down on the bench. Kido's panting. Kido asks, who even are you? Saejima replies, just a guy looking for answers. Come on, kid. I need your help. Kido says, fine, whatever, just let me catch my breath. So he's caught his breath, he's sitting up properly, and they're looking at each other eye to eye in a very manly way. Saejima says, damn, that's some heavy shit. Kido says, you're telling me. I mean, my own clan's after me now. Saejima asks, how about Arai? No sign of him yet? Kido replies, nope. Hard to find him with those Shibata thugs on my ass. And Akiyama-san can't help on this one. It's a goddamn nightmare, man. Saejima says, Akiyama the moneylender, he okay? Kido replies, yeah, he'll be fine. The police have Sky Finance under 24-hour watch. Shibata can't risk messing with him for now. Saejima says, the fuzz? Shit. Kido asks, you okay, man? You look like you're gonna puke. Saejima replies, I'm fine. Anyway, good thing the cops are watching him. Kido says, so, wait, what the hell's this Sasai family you keep talking about? Saejima replies, a family run by Hideki Sasai. We're a third-tier group that's part of the Tojo. At least we were 25 years ago. Kido says, no shit. Just like Kamurocho Enterprises. Saejima says, back then the Sasai and Shibata families were rivals despite both being Tojo. Kido says, wait, our parent family? Saejima says, Sasai-san and Shibata were both looking to climb the ladder. Kido says, a good old power struggle between rival families, huh? Saejima says, I was ready to do whatever it took, anything to get my patriarch a top spot in the clan. So I agreed to the hit. Kido asks, hit? Saejima says, murder. I took out Yoshiharu Ueno and the other Ueno Sewa brass who were jockeying with the Tojo. Gunned them down in a ramen joint. Kido says, the Ueno Sewa? Wait, you mean that hit? Saejima asks, you heard of it? Yeah, that was me. Kido says, hold on just a second, Pops. That's the shooting where one dude took out like 18 people, isn't it? You're a living legend. Saejima says, ain't nothing legendary about pointing a gun and pulling the trigger. All I cared about was making sure my patriarch rose through the ranks, even if I hung for it. Surprising thing was, my time never came. At least not yet. Kido says, wait, if you're a... that means you... Saejima says, busted out? Yep, just the other day. Kido says, what the fuck? Saejima says, pipe down, kid, relax. I just want to know the truth. See it with my own two eyes before I bite the dust. Kido asks, the truth about what? Saejima says, whether my boss really just up and vanished. Kido says, huh. Saejima says, and whether my bro Majima really did stab me in the back. So what do you say? Think you can help? Kido says, whoa, 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 hold the phone, man. Saejima asks, what? Kido says, this shit's way out of my freaking league. I mean, you're the legendary Taiga Saejima. There's no way I can help you. Saejima asks, why not? Kido says, come on, man, I'm a nobody. Practically still a street punk. Hell, I've got my own family on my ass. And you're asking me to help you. That's crazy talk. They keep bringing up this Indian chief. I haven't seen him yet. Saejima says, I ain't expecting much. Kido says, huh? Saejima says, just need an introduction. Kido asks, to who? Saejima says, someone who knows what went down in Kamurocho back in 85. Someone who knows the truth. Kido says, right, you said you were looking for the real story. Saejima says, mm-hmm. Any ideas? Kido says, uh-huh. Saejima asks, what? Kido says, there's a guy who can help. He'll definitely have the info you're looking for. Saejima asks, who? Kido says, an information broker. Best of the best. Saejima asks, an informant, huh? Kido says, let's get out of here before the cops come by and start asking questions. And who knows when those Shibata assholes will show up again. Follow me. There's a place I go to when I need to lay low. Saejima asks, you got a hideout? Kido says, yeah, come on. We need to head to the hideout. Kido says, come on, this way. And runs off, but I'm actually going to come back in here because I sure saw a shiny thing between your legs, sir. As it happens. Saejima thinks to himself, is that a locker key? Might be worth taking a closer look. Could you just spread your legs a bit further, sir? Saejima says, there's something here. We got Taihei Boulevard locker key F2. Just cough, sir, and it'll all be over soon. There you go. That wasn't so difficult, was it? Now we just never talk of this again, alright? Alright, Kido, let's go. Just don't take me by the cops, if you don't mind. Bloody blue healers. Kido says, it's right down this hallway, almost there. Okay. You could have just said that without having to have a little stop and chat, but okay. Oop. Saejima thinks to himself, there's something here. We got Kamurocho Underground Locker Key J1. Go us. Kido says, it's just down the escalator. Oh, let me guess, we have to go first so that you can knock us over the head with the 4x2, is that right? Okay. Oh no, we're now in the theatre underground, B1, and there's another flashy thing. Because I'm very easily distracted, Saejima thinks to himself, there's something here. We got Kamurocho Underground Locker Key E1 this time. Kido says, this is it. So you decided to make this very nondescript door with nothing at all to draw attention to itself by painting blue flames on it. Okay. That's one way of staying low, I guess. Saejima says, Kido says, it's a long story, but let's say the last tenants here moved out in a hurry, so I have helped myself to the space. Saejima says, lots of homeless folks around. Kido replies, this is kind of their turf. We're the squatters down here. And Saejima now has access to a hideout. Here we can save the game, move items to the item box, reminisce on past events, and view your playstats. Furthermore, your health will recover while at a hideout. Yay, oh, I remember this place. It does look very nice on the inside, I will say. Kido says, oh, yeah, let me tell you what I know about the informant. Saejima says, I'm all ears. Kido says, they say he keeps tabs on everything that happens in Kamurocho, past and present. I don't know who the guy is or how he knows what he knows, but word on the street is there's not much he doesn't. Oh, we're going to the Florist of Sai, are we? Saejima says, wonder how much of it's just rumour. Kido says, I'm just telling you what I've overheard. Apparently he pays homeless people to gather his intel. You might have the best luck asking them about him. Kido says, oh, I almost forgot. Saejima asks, forgot what? Kido replies, the streets are practically crawling with cops today. Better watch yourself out there. Saejima says, all right. Right, and I believe that this will be the end of the episode. In fact, I know it will be the end of the episode. So, yes, we know a bit more about Saejima now and what he's doing. So, yeah, let's go look for the Florist of Sai in the next episode. If you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next episode.